Ja, jouw feedback daarop. Ja, maar aanpassen dat de volgende uitsturen. En dan naar haar feedback en dan gewoon even gaan werken en dan misschien naar een aantal professionals sturen. Zoals ja.
Vipin is not on mute.
Yes, somebody is sharing his private conversation.
Yeah. I think it might be
something interesting.
All business strategies are being revealed.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we can learn something. Who knows?
Ja, doei. Ik ben dus twee om de mannen met die.
Well, this is the disadvantage of Teams. You can't mute people, whereas in Zoom you can.
Jacco, you're here as well, I see. Could you unmute yourself?
Yes, of course.
Oh, wonderful.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just sitting on the bridge of this nice dredging vessel. If you look at the back, very nice. In Mumbai, by the way.
Oh.
Picture of last year, sorry.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Nice to see you all again. As you say, I'm missing all these social events and everything, as most of you, I guess. And well, we have to cope with it just a few more months, I hope. Let's hope for the best.
Exactly. We'll be nice and follow all the rules, and then maybe we'll get back to our more or less before COVID life. Yeah. And then we'll be able to meet each other again, not only on a virtual means, but also directly. So good to have you here. By the way, in order to interact more, we have used the possibility to put you into groups and networking at the end of this program. Well, it's not the end of this program because it's part of this program. So because we really know that people miss, talking to each other, catching up. So we have organized this today. You will be able to talk to each other in groups. So don't walk away, please stay. And then we will meet each other in private chambers. And fortunately, MS Teams has introduced this technical possibility as of the beginning of this year. So we can do that as well. And after that, we'll all come back to the closing of this afternoon's program, which is really quite full today. So but bear in mind that we have been thinking of giving you the opportunity to talk to each other and have some network function. Wonderful. Okay, well. Nice to see you. Okay.
Edith, how many people you expect?
Sorry?
How many people you expect? How many participants?
We expect 150 people this afternoon. So yes, we are very happy with that. And as you see, people keep coming in. Fons, goedemiddag.
Hi,
Erik, goedemiddag.
Hi, Marianne. Hi, Vipin. How are you doing, all of you?
Good, thanks. Good to have you.
Thanks.
Hello, Eric.
We are enjoying the Avond clock.
It's yet to start, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. There were some people who said, "Oh, do we have to put batteries in that clock?"
I don't even dare to say it out loud, but there will be aspects of the lockdown that I'll miss.
You'll miss it.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can come here and enjoy.
Good.
Good afternoon, everybody.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Ashok.
Ashok.
How are you,
Hi.
Ashok? Good to see you.
Welcome, Ashok. Welcome, Franz.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Yolanda.
Sorry. Hello. I was eating something, so that's the only thing that's left. Drinking coffee. Hello, Marianne. How are you today? Good. Thanks. All the way from Bangalore. Wow. People.
Yes,
Hello,
she's going to tell more about it later on. So it's really cool. Really cool.
Well, we don't have a lockdown here, and we have very nice weather. So come over here.
Sounds good. Sounds
We
good.
wish.
Yeah, I would love to.
Edith?
But, yeah. Ambassadors here?
Yes, well, I'm not sure which ambassador we're talking
Welcome,
about.
welcome.
Just Ambassador India is.
All right.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Wonderful. Okay, without any further delay, hello, Albert, good afternoon. I would like to ask you, well, first of all, let me tell you, you will get the opportunity, I want to stress that, to talk to each other as part of this program, because we know that networking and, you know, catching up with friends is important. So therefore, this is part of this program today. We will give you some nice insights, and I will now officially start with the program. And within that time, I would like to ask to mute your microphone if you're not a speaker, so it's easier for people not to be distracted. Honorable Excellencies, corporate leaders, representatives of our patron members, NICCT members and guests, dear ladies and gentlemen, a special and warm welcome to His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to the Netherlands, His Excellency Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rawat. It is a great honor and pleasure that you are not only gracing us with your presence today, but that you will address our members and distinguished guests later on. As chairman of NICCT, I am honored and delighted to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to our New Year's reception. The kick-off event of 2021 will be marked by gratitude, reflection, but also by a positive outlook on what is possible in the India-Netherlands corridor. We have a full and varied program today, during which our distinguished speakers will inform, inspire, and perhaps also influence you a little, all in the most positive sense of the word, of course. Speaking of a positive outlook, we are happy to inform you that we will sign an MOU today during this reception, in which the cooperation within the NL India corridor will be further enhanced and expanded. On behalf of the entire board of NICCT, I would like to thank you, our loyal members, who continue to support NICCT despite the difficult times, and who continue to attend our events in such large numbers. We very much appreciate this from each and every one of you. A special thanks to our dedicated patron members, HCL, TCS, KPMG Meiburg, and Gateway Group, without whom all of what NICCT does would not be possible. Their constant support, also during these challenging times, is invaluable and highly appreciated. Their input, time, support, and efforts are limitless, all to the sole benefit of the members of NICCT. We feel very privileged that all our patron members have reconfirmed their commitment. Our patron members will let you know later on this afternoon what they have learned from 2020, what insights this has brought to them, and what out-of-the-box ideas they have been able to apply to solve business blockages through the pandemic, not for themselves, but especially for others. I would like to take the opportunity to give a special thanks to my wonderful team members, the board members of NICCT, Ms. Vidya Sampat, Mr. Sudeep Lahiri, Ms. Namita Krul, Mr. Rajiv Mehra, Mr. Albert Waller, Mr. Jelke Schipper, Mr. Erwin Cedars, and Patricia de Bordes, without whose tireless effort we would not be able to serve you. You are used to catching up with each other, I already mentioned it earlier, and networking at New Year's reception. We accommodate that today as well. So stay tuned this afternoon and we will put you in touch with each other. Before announcing the first esteemed speaker of today, I would like to reflect on the loss of a great friend and advocate of trade in the NL-India corridor. Hans de Boer, whom many of you have had the pleasure of speaking with and seeing in preparation for and on trade missions. With meticulous accuracy and a passionate entrepreneurial spirit, but also with vigor and humor, he devoted himself to international trade. May his soul rest in peace, and may his memory inspire us to continue and keep up his great work. I would like to turn to our first speaker of today, His Excellency Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rawat.
Very good.
Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rawat is the ambassador designate of India to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. He will also be the permanent representative of India to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons and responsible for India's relations with the International Court of Justice, the Permanent Court of Arbitration, and other legal institutions in The Hague. Mr. Rawat joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1990. He opted to learn Mandarin Chinese as his foreign language and served in Hong Kong and Beijing between 1992 and 1997. By the way, he is fluent in Chinese, which is very impressive. He returned to Delhi in 1997 and served in East Asia Division for over 3 years. He then served as First Secretary in Indian Mission in Mauritius. He started his second tenure in Beijing in 2003 as counselor and ended in 2007 as Deputy Chief of Mission. Mr. Rawat returned to the Ministry of External Affairs and worked as Director East Asia in the East Asia Division between 2007 and 2009, and thereafter he was on deputation to South Asian University for 10 months. He then served as Joint Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi from 2014 to 2017. Mr. Rawat served as Ambassador of India to Indonesia and Timor-Leste from September 2017 to December 2020. We are very honored and pleased that he is here today to give you his address. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Edith, for such a detailed introduction. Edith Nordmann, Chairman of the Netherlands-India Chamber of Commerce and Trade. Ambassador Marten van der Berg, Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to India. Good to see you. I think we spoke the other day, but without the video feed. Ms. Saskia Bruines, Deputy Mayor and Alderman for Economic Affairs, International Affairs and Municipal Services, Municipality, The Hague. Member of the Board of NICCT, Captains of Dutch and Indian Industries, ladies and gentlemen. With many of you, I am meeting for the first time, and since it is still January, let me begin by conveying my best wishes to you and to your families for a healthy and fulfilling 2021. I also wish that despite the challenges, some man-made and some not, year 2021 be another great year for bilateral relations. Well, I must admit that this wish has a bit of self-interest built into it, which Ambassador Marten would agree, because if it happens that way, both of us can claim some credit for it. We have a good story, whatever I have learned in my last couple of days. We have a good story going between India and Netherlands. Bilateral trade is good. Netherlands is bringing significant investments into India. Many Dutch conglomerates like Philips, Shell, Unilever, here a little bit word of caution, because many people in India somehow still link Unilever with UK, not so much with Netherlands. I think we need to correct that impression. These are household names in India. Indian companies and Indian professionals in Netherlands have also grown significantly in last couple of decades. We have daily direct flight connecting India and Netherlands even during these difficult times, which I must say is a luxury, given the way airline industry is today. Political leadership, both countries' political leadership are exchanging more frequent visits. Even during COVID time, they are maintaining contacts using digital mean, as we are doing today. The question in my mind is, how do we make this good story great? I am new, and I must admit pretty ignorant, because it's, as I have been telling everybody, that it's my first time in Netherlands and also first time in Europe, in this continent. I have never been to this continent. So I would not claim any expertise or dare make any suggestion how to do it, because if I do that, the chances is either I will over project or I will under project, or worse, that I may completely miss the target. That's why I would like to learn, study and work with the professionals, which in today's gathering there are many. What I have been told is quite encouraging for me, because I've been told about Dutch grit and determination. And I was listening to one podcast where they talked about the ancestors of Dutch people who were given a very difficult geographical card, and still they decided to take that challenge. And it was a very interesting podcast. It actually talked about Friesland, people of Friesland and that. And they took that challenge. At that time, maybe 1,000 years ago, it looked like something which was really, in a sense, not such a wise choice. But with their hard work, well, the tide turned. The land which was not such a good land suddenly became one of the most fertile land, and Netherlands is today the second largest exporter of agro products. So in Indian belief system, we believe that God helps those who help themselves, which actually comes out very true in this case. So as you could see that in India, there is a bit of spirituality attached to everything. So when you do business or you deal with Indians, I think it's not only driven by greed. I think there's always a larger purpose. And in today's world, that larger purpose always makes it a bit more sustainable. Because all of us are moved to that stage where we want to go beyond pure profit motives. And in that, I am very sure that this bit of spirituality which touches every aspect of India could be very helpful. The other point which I feel, given the challenges, today we are looking at how do we de-risk the supply chains, because the concentration of supply chains and the risk it brings to our own societies has, I think, has been brought in sharp focus because of the COVID-19. So in a way, COVID-19 is a wake-up call for industries as it is for the societies to take or revisit the drawing board and see what we have been doing right and what we have not been doing right, and whether it's time for us to do the course correction. And when we want to de-risk the supply chains, I think the Indian scheme, which has moved from Make in India to become Atmanirbhar India, where the theme is that make for the world and not for the India alone, suggests that the policy makers are looking at scale, because when you're only looking at Make in India, which is largely for India, the scale aspect is missed. But if you want to become efficient, that means bringing logistics efficiencies, looking taxation efficiencies, looking all kinds of efficiencies. The Atmanirbhar Bharat is a statement that India is looking to move in that direction. And some of the policies which have been taken, which have resulted in India moving up the ease of doing business scale drastically in last several years, is a very clear statement that today it's a country which is driven with a certain objective. And given that objective, given the challenges that we are looking at de-risking the supply chains and also looking at the health sector very, very critically. And when I put the Dutch grit, determination and innovation, I feel that we are certainly hitting much below our potential. And that's the only thing which I feel that we can certainly make this good story great. And in that, I certainly look forward to listening to all of you and to, as I said, to learn from all of you. And then, most importantly, to work with all of you. So with these words, I think I thank Edith, her team, and everybody to give me this opportunity in, I think, in my first 2 weeks in Netherlands, and my first such interaction with the community here. So I'm very grateful and very thankful for this. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. It is purely our pleasure having you here. And we are very much looking forward to see how we can turn the ease of doing business and our good story that we have between the Netherlands and India turning into a great story together with you and everybody in the NL India corridor. If we have seen things from the, let's say, the more positive aspects of this horrible pandemic, it is that more than ever, you already mentioned the spiritual part of business, which is extremely important, that we should really look at the focus, what is important to us, and what connection do we have between human beings. And I think that could be one of the ways how we can make our good relation in business into a great relation with human values and spirituality. And we are very much looking forward to being even more and closer in contact with you and having you at more of our events and how we can work together to making this great. Thank you so much. I would like to turn, you already mentioned the ambassador of the Netherlands to India, and he has volunteered to be our speaker now. His Excellency Marten van den Berg is the ambassador of the Netherlands to India, known to many of us and a regular at our events, for which we are very grateful. He is the ambassador to the Netherlands to India, Nepal and Bhutan. Prior to his appointment as ambassador, he served as the Director General of Foreign Economic Relations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from 2015 to 2018. Ambassador van den Berg studied economics at the Erasmus University in Rotterdam and was part of the program for public management at the University of Maryland, US, and the program for senior executives of state and local government, the John F. Kennedy School and Harvard University, one of the finest schools in the world. And his first entry into public life was as the Senior Policy Advisor of General Technology Policy, Ministry of Economic Affairs. His subsequent posts included Deputy Chairman of the Working Group Technology Transfer at the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Adjunct Secretary General at the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and Deputy Director Spatial Economic Policy. In 2001, he was appointed Economic Minister at the Netherlands Embassy in Washington, a place that we have seen quite differently lately, and returned to the Ministry of Economic Affairs as Deputy Director General of Foreign Economic Relations in 2004. In 2008, he was also appointed as the Director of Economic Diplomacy at the Ministry, and in 2012, Ambassador van den Berg was appointed as the Deputy Director General of Foreign Economic Relations, and then as the Director General of Foreign Economic Relations in 2015. I hope I have it all right. And we are extremely grateful that Ambassador van den Berg is here today to tell you more about the situation in India. As we said here, we are closing up. So we are looking forward to listening to his speech about what's going on in India. Your Excellency.
Thank you so much, Edith. Well, that was indeed a long list, but thank you very much. And well, dear guest, it's really a pleasure and very much also an honor to be with you today. Unfortunately, only virtual, but I think we get used to virtual meetings and receptions, etc., etc. So it's in a way in a new normal and a new world. First, of course, a very, very warm welcome to you, Pradeep, our new Indian ambassador in the Netherlands. I hope, as I told you earlier, that the Netherlands will treat you as good as India treats me, and I'm sure you will have a wonderful time in the Netherlands. And I'm very much looking forward to work very, very closely with you, jointly to well, improve India-Netherlands relationships in so many areas. And yeah, I fully agree. If we get a better collaboration, we both credit from it. So I think we both have an interest in it. But besides that, I'm really looking forward to work together. So we're looking forward to have close calls, meetings together and see where we can improve the relationship, although it's already very, very good. Also from my side, Edith, a few words about Hans de Boer. Of course, I think for all of us, it was really a shock when we heard about the very, very sad news. I knew Hans very, very well. I worked very, very close with him. in national policies, but above all, of course, in foreign economic relations. He was a very close friend of ambassadors. He was a huge supporter of international economic relations, also very much of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but also as a person. He was really such an energetic, a nice person, very social. I'm not sure whether everyone was really aware of this part of his personality, very much committed. Of course, sometimes he was provocative, very direct, very straight. Sometimes some people had some difficulties with it, but we should also remember that no other chair of NCW was so much involved in collaboration with the trade unions, with social policies. So indeed, he was on the one hand a strong entrepreneur, but very much a social entrepreneur with a very social agenda. And he was a very good friend of India. He was very fond of, he really enjoyed India, visited India a couple of times with him. And I still remember also the first time when we visited India with a big CEO mission and Prime Minister Rutte. And he, of course, as the chair of the VNO-NCW, was chairing the CEO roundtable. And from the Indian side, it was Prime Minister Modi. And they didn't know each other. But Hans de Boer, of course, is always open for a joke. So he started his introduction with a certain joke. And I think I wouldn't have dared to make that joke. And I think most of the people would have said, well, maybe it's a bit too sensitive, this joke as an introduction. But of course, we knew Hans, he did it. And Prime Minister Modi started to laugh so much. All the ice was broken. The atmosphere was from the first minute a wonderful atmosphere. And that was Hans. He really could break the ice. So yeah, it's very, very sad, and we will miss him, but also in the Indian-Dutch relationship. And our thoughts are very, very much with his wife, his children, his grandchildren. And he died far, far too early. But it was a privilege to work with him for such a long, long time. But we will miss him very, very much. Well, India and Netherlands, I think 2020 was for all of us, of course, the year of COVID-19 or Corona, the year of the lockdowns, of working and learning from home, also from an economic crisis. But for me, it was also a year of resilience. I was amazed how so many things really did happen. But also, I think it was a year of learning. I think Pradeep, you said already also something about this as a kind of a wake-up call. I think we really realize that things have to change. So I think it was really a wake-up call for learning how to change things. And hopefully, for me, 2021 will be a year of hope, a year of opportunities, very hopefully also a year of collaboration, a year of recovery. And the collaboration in terms also that we see more trade deals than trade wars. And hopefully we will implement those changes to fast track policies on equality, on sustainability, and really take the sustainable development goals very, very seriously. If you look to the Netherlands and India at this particular moment, it's true that the Netherlands is really taking a different direction than India. To be honest, it's much nicer to live in India at the moment because India is opening up. I have meetings, lunches. Yesterday, we had a wonderful lunch with the Foreign Secretary in the Hyderabad house, the garden, sunshine. So people are connecting again. So instead of the Netherlands, which is going into lockdowns, maybe curfews, India are opening up. Businesses are continuing. So that's also, I think, a very good moment to reconnect, to connect, to discover again relationship with India and see what is possible. As I said, I was very much happily surprised what already took place in 2020, despite COVID, but also due to the fact that I think in India, many people are really used in working digitally. going digital is for so many people in India not a big thing. So from the early beginning, we had digital visits, digital trade missions, digital signings of contracts, digital meetings with chief ministers all over India. Of course, everybody prefers a meeting person to person. Everybody prefers to have a drink or wonderful Indian food in person with each other. But many things continued. And now as India is opening up, I think it's a great moment really to look for new opportunities in India. What I really like about the Netherlands and India, it is really a two-way street. We see so many, what Pradeep also said, Indian companies in the Netherlands, but vice versa, very well-known Dutch companies in India. We have a very close relationship on science, on innovation, on trade, on investment, on social issues. And we share a very, very, very long history. I would say the Netherlands and India is a love marriage. And I think it's really nice to see how the Netherlands and India work so closely together, also very much focused on dealing with huge challenges of our society. And what I like about it and what really inspires me, it's collaboration between governments, but also with the private sector, with technology institutions, with universities, with students. Every part of society from the Netherlands and from India are getting together, collaborating in dealing, addressing our huge challenges of society, whether it's climate, whether it's renewable energy, water, sustainable agriculture. There are so many topics, health issues, especially today, very, very key area, of course. And that really inspires me, and that's why I'm feeling so lucky to be the Netherlands ambassador to India. So I hope, again, 2021 will be a year of recovery, a year of hope. I'm sure it will be a year of change. Again, a lot of learning, and hopefully we see even a better and more intense collaboration between India and the Netherlands. And for all of you, a very, very happy 2021, but especially a very healthy one for you, your friends, your family, and everyone in your surroundings. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Edith.
Thank you very much for your very inspiring words, because that's what we really need at the moment. And you call it the love marriage. I like it, because let's say one of the characteristics of a love marriage is that even if things get a bit tough, you always have a positive attitude and you solve problems. So, and that's the nice thing. So whatever happens, we have exactly the same intention. And that's also part of a love marriage. We all want the same thing, which is a very strong trade relationship between the Netherlands and India and vice versa. And I'm very happy to hear these sunny words from your part that you can already be out. So we have something to look forward to. Not only that, but it also gives us some extra inspiration to already now that we are closing down, work on our relationship with India. And if we have seen anything last year, it is that digital contact as a possibility and as option and as ways of changing and collaboration, the collaboration is speeding up the process. And I would like to take this opportunity to say, okay, please don't wait here in the Netherlands. Go and work with your Indian relations and start doing business, because they are already running. So take this up and do that. We're looking forward to working with you all, and thank you very much for your inspiring words. I would like to turn to our next speaker, Saskia Bruines, Deputy Mayor and Alderman for Economic Affairs of the International Affairs and Municipal Services of the Municipality of The Hague. Unfortunately, due to personal circumstances, she is not able to address us here today, but she did take the enormous effort, and we really appreciate it very much, to record a message for us. And we will show this now to you.
Yeah.
If it works. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I attend the New Year's reception of the Netherlands-India Chamber of Commerce and Trade, albeit online. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I attend the New Year's reception of the Netherlands-India Chamber of Commerce and Trade, albeit online. Like I'm sure all of you, I am looking forward to actual get-togethers, but for now, we will have to make do with this long-distance substitute. I would very much like to take this opportunity to wish you
Ja,
all
volume staat helemaal voor open.
मोनो डिस्टर्ब तो करे
I'm muted. Yes, now I'm unmuted, I hope. Yes, wonderful. Okay, good. Sorry, I think I said something and you didn't hear it. So we will move to the next speaker of today. It is a great privilege and pleasure to say, one second. Oh, okay. We will send you the address of Saskia Bruines later in order to gain some time, and we are very thankful that she took the time to record this. So you will get her address in your mail. So we will move to our next speaker now. We are very proud to say, and it is also a sign of the really serious intentions and the good relationship and the love marriage between Netherlands and India, that we are having a digital mission upcoming from the 8th until the 12th of February. Which is the first digital mission to India. So far, we all went there. We took a plane and we had the wonderful opportunity to go there. But even though this is not possible yet, we hope it will be possible soon. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs took the opportunity to plan quite an extensive mission. Today, we have the pleasure of having Agnes Koppelman, who is Senior Policy of Trade Relations, South Asia and Africa of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And she was willing to speak to us today. One more thing before I give the words to her. As NICCT, we are very proud to say that on the 12th of February, which is the last day of the mission, NICCT will organize the roundtable sessions for the participants of the mission. Agnes Koppelman, you are here. I saw you somewhere. Yeah. Let me see.
Can you see me, Edith? Hi.
Oh, wonderful. Well, the floor is all yours. Wonderful. We can see you now loud and clear.
Perfect.
Okay. It's all yours. Thanks.
Thank you, Edith, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain a bit about the virtual trade mission that we're organizing in a few weeks. It's an honor for me to take part in this New Year's reception, because for me there's always two important networking moments when it comes to the India-Netherlands Business Corridor, which is the New Year's reception of the NICCT, and of course later in the year the Netherlands-India Business Meet that we also have done online, and it worked very well, and I'm happy to see that also the New Year's reception is done perfectly well online. It's a good, it gives me good confidence that our virtual mission will also be a success. So the travel and meeting restrictions that followed as a response to COVID-19, almost a year ago already, hard to believe, forced us at the central government to adjust our trade promotion work so that we could continue our support to Dutch businesses in their international activities. It soon became clear to us that trade is essential to enable the global economic recovery out of the crisis, but it would be business as unusual due to all these restrictions. So we adjusted the trade promotion work in several ways. We extended the financing opportunities, for example, under the Dutch Trade and Investment Fund and the Dutch Good Growth Fund. We also brought a stronger focus to our trade promotion activities, so to our trade missions, the conferences and fairs and other events that we organize. And together with our embassy network worldwide, the RVO and private partners such as NCW and MKB Nederland, we developed a sort of a programming for the period of September 2020 and to approximately May 2021. In that programming, we're focusing on markets that are in highest demand at the moment and that offer the best opportunities for our companies. We also wanted to avoid promoting all parts of the world in these times that actually force companies to make strategic choices. What we saw was an increased focus on nearby markets. So Dutch companies are really looking at our neighbors. But we also saw continued interest in some of the most promising global markets. And I'm happy to confirm that India is one of these markets that remains central to our policy also in COVID times. Business also has been unusual over the last year as travel restrictions have forced us to find new ways of trade promotion. I think Marten already touched upon digital ways of working together. How could we continue to inform about developments in markets, business opportunities, but also how could we connect people internationally as we like to do? Embassies were quick to adapt and find new ways of sharing knowledge, for example, through webinars. And I think our trade network in India is a good example of that agility that we've seen. They organize many webinars with public and private and Dutch and Indian partners, of which many are here today as well, which is good to see. In that new way of working, we also started organizing virtual trade missions since last summer. So far, we've had virtual missions to the US, to Belgium, France, a mission to Italy, a big mission to Southeast Asia that you've probably seen over the last month. It was stretched out over 2 months, gathered a great audience, about 700 people participated. And this process has been learning by doing. So we've gathered a lot of information so far, and the experiences have been good. And of course, online missions do not replace offline missions completely. It is not the same experience, but it's the best way we have to inform our companies about developments in a market and to enable them to find new business partners and to reconnect with existing content. So I'm happy to announce, as Edith also confirmed, that we're organizing such a virtual trade mission to India from 8 till 12 February. And the mission focuses on 3 main sectors. That is the water sector, safety and security, food, and we're particularly looking at food losses and solutions to food losses in agriculture, horticulture, dairy and aquaculture. And renewable energy, that is quite a big sector. So we look at solar, hydrogen, biofuels, the energy transition and e-mobility. The mission, of course, builds upon the work that has been done over the last years. We've had the big trade mission in October 2019 with our royal couple, but also the visit, of course, of Prime Minister Rutte to India and Prime Minister Modi to the Netherlands. And I think, and also as Ambassador Rawat also mentioned, both governments are committed to further strengthening these trade relations between our countries. From good to great. I really like that slogan. And we've seen improvements. Our bilateral trade relations grew by over 27% in 2019. So I think that's a nice example of how good we're doing. A bit more about the mission, perhaps. We'll have a plenary opening session, which will have participation of Minister Kaag and the president also of the Confederation of Netherlands Industries and Employers, Ingrid Thijssen, will be there. And I'm also happy to confirm the attendance of their Indian counterparts. So Minister Goyal for Commerce and Industry will be participating, as well as CII President Mr. Banerjee. They will grace the opening with their presence that we're quite happy with. And for all sectors, we've developed tracks that include several interactive webinars and roundtables. There will be general sessions about financing by Atradia State Business and RVO. And as Edith mentioned, on the Friday the 12th, the NICCT and Netherlands in Business cooperate to organize a roundtable discussion about doing business in India, which promises to be a very inspirational session in which companies that would like to enter the market or expand their presence can ask their very specific questions about their approach to the market. We're very pleased to cooperate with a partner such as NICCT with their years of experience in the Indian-Netherlands business corridor and also their hands-on cross-cultural knowledge, which is great. In this virtual mission, we also offer matchmaking. It will be done in two ways. We have tailor-made matchmaking, as you are familiar with from regular missions. So there will be an intake and matches will be found for you. But the online platform we use also offers the possibility to make your own connections on an online marketplace. The latter actually has proven particularly successful in the previous virtual missions that we've organized. So you'll make even more matches than the tailor-made matchmaker has found for you. So to conclude, Dutch and Indian companies are welcome to still register for this virtual trade mission until the day before opening. So the mission starts on the 8th, Monday the 8th, and until Sunday the 7th, you're able to register. Although registration for that tailor-made matchmaking has already closed. You can find more information about the mission and the registration on the RVO website. And I hope to see you all virtually again in February. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yes. 1 second. Oh no, something's wrong. Yeah, now I should be audible again. Thank you very much, Agnes, for your very inspiring story about, how the relationship between the Netherlands and India is just as strong as ever, and that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is also recognizing India as one of the important markets, even in times of more travel restrictions and other restrictions. Great to have this confirmed. Of course, we as NICCT knew that already, and but it's good to have it confirmed. And we are extremely happy that we can work on this together like we would in a normal mission. And therefore, whoever still wants to join the mission, I encourage you to check the program. And as Agnes already pointed out, the matchmaking, the official matchmaking is no longer possible, but like on a normal mission, you will have the possibility to, address others and to come in contact with others. And this is a great opportunity for networking and talking about business, because you know that all these people who are on that mission are seriously interested in doing business in the corridor. So therefore, it is the next best thing to going there. And again, thanks for organizing this and having us there and giving the opportunity to work in that corridor. It is my pleasure now to, as I told you, our patron members will give you some insights on how they saw 2020 and what it means for 2021. Ambassador van den Berg already said it's a time of change in the most positive way. And working on that, I would like, I'm very pleased to have Naresh Narang, Senior Director of HCL Netherlands here. Naresh has keen interest in emerging technologies, and along with his work, Naresh mentors tech startups. He's currently mentoring the startup in India, which has a huge potential to bring a social change. And therefore, we are very much looking forward to, and also he's going to share an example with you how this can be used here in the Netherlands for a very special group in our community. Please, Naresh, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Edith. I hope you all can hear me okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. First of all, I welcome our esteemed guest, His Excellencies on both sides. It's great to be part of this forum. It definitely gives a great pleasure, representing a company with the Indian heritage and being able to influence the global customers, working with global customers in different parts of the world. A lot has been, discussed on COVID, so I'll keep that particular part quite brief. I think definitely last year was a bit of a roller coaster ride. It was definitely a year of shock and surprise in the beginning, not a good surprise. And then I think it was, probably also an acceptance set in somewhere around April-May timeframe that we have to deal with the situation. And I think because that year was of shock and surprise, this particular year is of hope, of new beginning. And that's what we are definitely looking towards. We do feel that it has already started. And like His Excellency from India said that he was visiting Hyderabad house. That's where we should be. but yes, nevertheless, those days will come in Netherlands very soon. I totally hope. I also feel that IT companies, had a lot of opportunity this year. Everybody who was out there, he didn't have a choice but to rely on IT. And there are certain businesses, and if we look at us here in Netherlands, a business like food delivery picked up like anything. I think probably that's the only entertainment which is available nowadays with us. And whether it was our young ones, from 5-6-year-olds, or it was our elderly, we didn't have a choice but to tie ourselves on a mobile screen or on a laptop. And I think that's exactly what we have been doing in the IT world, but now it has sort of gone to masses. There is absolutely no question about that. Having said that, what I specifically do along with my job at HCL, I look for tech startups, and they come to me through various channels, and I spend my time in my capacity and capability to mentor them. There is a startup going on out of Varanasi, Mr. Modi constituency right now, called Rawat, which is a starting of being an artist, right? And what they do is they go to these small schools, and then they try to take pictures from the people who are learning art, the drawings and arts and paintings, and then they try to sell it online. So it's very interesting. And if you're interested to know more about it, well, I'll be very happy to put you in touch with the CEO, which happens to be a lady sitting in Varanasi and doing that startup. And I think that's what the social change is all about. And that's what we should do. What we have also done as HCL last year, I think in one of the missions, the trade mission from Hague was part of it, and Hague went to India, and it was decided that we'll evaluate certain startups. And they came to us and we said, okay, we are always happy to have a partnership. We are always happy to contribute. And as part of that particular opportunity, one of the startup got the top prize. It was Kaizen Voice. I don't know if they are representing or they are in the call today. And not only HCL sponsored the prize, it was a monetary prize, but I think much more than monetary prize, we actually gave them opportunity to come to Hague for a month, came to come to Netherlands for a month. And they were actually here, and we started engaging them along with, because we saw potential in that startup. So we started engaging them with our customers. And now we are working along with them on a biometric proposition. It's called Proof of Life, where elderly, they have to give their proof of life once a year. They actually have to go to notary, get it signed, and then say, you know, they are actually there to claim the pension. And through this particular one, this particular startup will be able to record their voice, will be able to, and whenever they call again, so they just have to do two things. You know, first they have to record their voice, and second, whenever they come again, their voice will be authenticated, and it's done. And you know, it's already there for regulatory approvals now. If that happens, that will sort of become a new way of life for this elderly. And I think that's the change that probably tech can bring to us. And that's the sort of a change and ease we should aspire towards. And we are very, very keen and happy to be engaged in such initiatives. The role we play is of a technical mentor, because we do have an ecosystem. We do have technical people on our side. We can validate the product technically. We can also take it to our customers and see, you know, if they are interested in that. And if it opens up any opportunities for them or jointly, we are absolutely open for that. And in addition to that, I think it is also a great way for us to show to our customers on what we can evaluate and what we can bring to the table from a startup perspective. And that's, I think it's all about creating the ecosystem and partnership, which is also the theme of this particular chamber that we are part of. And that's how we are contributing towards it. Very, very happy to be part of this again. And what we are really looking forward is, I do hope that the next mission is much more physical in nature than the virtual one like this. And hope, you know, we are interacting again with the drinks in this year, you know, probably around the summer. So looking forward to it. Back to you, Edith, and I'm happy to take any questions in due course. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Naresh. It is great to see how this shift that is made by, you know, a shift made by possibilities and also just the need to shift, and to see how you get these startups, because of course they have always very clever ideas, and it's good to help them to realize that. Well, in my profession, I've seen, of course, that the elderly, they have to come for their proof of life. It is quite a hassle for them to, you know, to go to the notary, to have somebody drive them there, and it is quite stressful for them. So the example that you gave, that they can, by voice recognition, give a proof of life, must be an enormous relief for them, and you know, taking away the stress. So it's good to see that there are so many great initiatives that have a social impact as well. And we are, of course, looking forward to hearing much more and working together on that. Thank you very much, Naresh.
Thank you.
I would like to turn to our next speaker, Nikhil Sharma of TCS. Nikhil has been a member of the education community for over 10 years and currently takes care of business development of TCS ION, the education unit of Tata Consultancy Services in Europe and UK. He brings in a vast experience of consultation and business development in education domain across the globe, and represents TCS ION for some of the largest clients of TCS in education and assessment domain. I'm very happy, Nikhil, to have you here. Let me see you so I can talk to you.
Hi, everyone.
Let's see where you are. You should show somewhere.
Are you able to see me and hear me?
At least I can hear you. Yes, I can see you now. Thank you very much, Nikhil. Nice to have you. Education, well, that's a very important part, and also most definitely we will have a paradigm shift there as well. We all know that, so it's great to have you here today. The COVID-19 pandemic has created the largest disruption of education systems in history, I would say. UN said that it affected nearly 1.6 billion learners in more than 190 countries and all continents. closures of schools and other learning spaces have impacted 94% of the world's student population, up to 99% in low and lower middle income countries. So what impact did you see as an education specialist?
I hope you are able to hear me.
I see that you are muted, it seems. Yes, now should be nice.
Okay. I hope everyone is able to hear me.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Edith. And before I answer your question, very good afternoon to all of you and to our chief guests. And it has been wonderful listening to all of you, everyone who spoke till now. And it is an absolute honor to be invited to speak in such a forum. I'll move to your question, from the impact perspective. Before pandemic itself, the world was already facing formidable challenges in fulfilling the promise of education. If you speak about numbers, around 250 million children were out of school, 800 million adults, they were illiterate. And then this COVID happened. And as you mentioned, it has caused the largest disruption in education of history, in the education history, and around 1.6 billion learners, they have been impacted. Impact has been so severe that, it will be one of the most defining features of the entire generation. And I, from personal perspective, my mom, who is a teacher by profession, she is tackling, various different kind of challenges while teaching online. My friends who, they are facing multiple challenges in homeschooling their kids. Some of my colleagues, they are living in the reality of being furloughed and trying to learn new things online, virtually, to get ahead in their careers. So overall, from education perspective, key things or challenges which I would say, which I noticed, definitely first of all is the job risk, and job risk specifically for people with lower level of qualifications today. They are at a much higher risk than they were earlier. One very interesting thing which I was noticed recently in one of the articles from UN was that better off households, they are still maintaining things related to education, but the unprivileged households, they are struggling to provide this kind of home learning. There are multiple issues. There are issues due to infrastructure. You don't have the devices. There are issues of technology. You don't have access to it. You don't have internet connections. You don't have access to the private, tutoring. And it has led to dropouts from this part of the society. Large number of dropouts. From children perspective, the whole assessment, the way, it was, the students were assessed using certain exams, it has changed. There are new ways, and it has impacted the students. More than 50% students, they're getting lower grades. But, over and above all these particular things, the most important impact, which I feel, is the mental health of students. It has been because of, the anxiety, the loneliness, the fear, which, about the future and things like that. And this has been the most important. Over 50% students, there were certain surveys, they mentioned that, the mental health is in a state of chaos. But okay, from other perspective, if you see, there has been a very positive impact also. Education, now if you see after COVID, it has become completely borderless. The education systems around the world, they were very swift to react and adapt to this, situation. The governments across different countries, they reacted very quickly to ensure, education continuity. And today, wide range of distance learning tools, innovative methods to implement learning or impart learning, they came out, like, remote learning you see in every university or school today. New systems of grading evolved. One, very important impact I would say is that today the parents, they have better insights into the work the teachers do, as well as they have better insights, or they are more aware about their children. So, there are two sides of a coin. Impact has been positive as well as negative, but best thing is that, it can only improve from here. And everyone seems to understand that. The government seem to understand that, and everyone seems to be, kind of ready.
Okay, well, we have to, because, the children have to be educated. We cannot just ignore it. So could you tell us maybe what the steps the TCS take to respond to this issue in education? Because it is a real issue. It's not only handling the children, it is the education issue. So could you elaborate that a bit?
Definitely. So TCS, as a Tata Group, is a strategic partner of World Economic Forum and is a member of the COVID Action Platform. And Tata Group, as early when COVID started early in March itself, they pledged $200 million to protect and empower the affected communities. And these particular funds, they have been utilized in multiple ways for providing protective equipment for health workers, respiratory systems, testing kits. There's a group called as Taj Group, and it's a 5-star hotel business of Tata Group in India. They offered rooms to the medical fraternity on duty while they were working tirelessly to save us from COVID-19. One thing I would say that our AI scientists, they found 31 new promising chemical compounds which could potentially fight COVID-19. Coming into the space of education, we actually launched an offering called as TCS Ion Glassroom. And this offering, it was made available for free to every educational institute across the world. And the intent of this platform was to enable students to learn from home and teachers and the educators, professors to be able to guide them. So it's kind of a mobile and web-based platform which empowered educators to engage with the students in real time, sharing the educational resources, sharing materials like assignments, assessments in a very interactive manner. And
so how difficult is it for schools to start using this TCS Ion Glassroom? It's a very cool name. One can imagine that it's not so many schools are used to digital learning at this scale. As you already said, probably the wealthier schools already used iPads, but it is rather the schools that don't have these possibilities. What are the challenges and solutions to these schools?
So we introduced a very simple 3-step process. First of all, you as an institute, you just need to go to a link and register your institute. That's it. Once you have registered, our team gets connected to the schools or to the universities, and they create an exclusive classroom for that university or school. Okay. And they get in touch with that particular organization just to get 1 hour call to get certain data. And post that all the configuration, everything, those things are also done by our team. So we created a 5,000-person team during this COVID who would support all the schools and universities. And they take care of every configuration. Students and teachers will just receive a communication from platform that yes, you can log in, you can start accessing, and all this happens within a 7-day window.
Wow.
And even for teachers, professors, who are not tech savvy, we are in special hands-on sessions for them. I'll tell you, feel very proud to say that worldwide, we onboarded 30,000 schools and universities in just 3 to 4 months while we launched this. Today, we support around 10 million students. We have onboarded 200,000 teachers. And on a daily basis, every day more than 500 universities or schools, they were connected with us. Very top named universities in India, for example, Sastra University, MGR University in Chennai, were very big names. And they were the first ones to adopt this kind of thing. I will share an example. I was talking with a lady who is the CEO of an academy here in UK. And she mentioned that in early COVID times, just, when online virtual classes were considered as online learning, the people were not thinking about anything else other than online virtual classes. Then was the time I had introduced this platform to her. And she had challenges that, how will the students give assignments? How will I assess people or assess the students. That was a challenge. And she had tested a plethora of paid platforms, and they were not able to solve this issue. And I was talking with her. She, has used now this classroom for 8 months and was delighted to have been introduced to it. And we continue to invest in these kind of innovations, and the purpose is to approach is to mimic the classroom learning in an online fashion. Every activity which you do in classroom can be mimicked in an online fashion.
That's wonderful. So what were your key learnings in this pandemic year? And you already mentioned a bit, but still both professional with respect to the future of education and personal. And could you relate an incident that made a lasting impression on you?
Okay, so multiple questions, but
sorry.
From education perspective, I would say it has given a new face to education. Education, I definitely feel that it now needs to be more focused on those modules or subjects or practices which shape the character, which shape your mental strength of the students. Definitely more emphasis needs to be paid on those skills that helps the students to evolve in this ever changing world. And one more thing which we noticed, that teachers and parents, and I specifically used the word parents because parents are the new teachers in this world, and both of them, the teachers and parents, they should identify innovative ways of digital learning. But they should identify new pedagogies, make home learning also very much similar to school learning, and it should be very much collaborative and fun. Personal perspective, key learning has been importance of small things which I used to take for granted, but now I miss them, like playing cricket or tennis or outings with friends, many things. But one important incident, if I would say, is again with one of the academies here in UK who are using Glassroom. So they excel in providing students, skills in English and other areas, but they introduced IT specific training also. And they invited me that, okay, for certain IT subjects, can you be a moderator in one of the communities as a volunteer and talk about certain things, as well as answer queries, things like that. And they were using my digital classroom platform which I had brought in. And what happened that when I started joining these particular sessions, it actually opened me to new ways to collaborate, and I wouldn't even have thought of certain ways in which these students, the new generation, they were using my platform to collaborate with each other, the way they were debating with each other, polling on certain things, surveys, the way, the whole process. And it opened up, new ideas inside me. Best learning, from that was that it made me feel that why social learning today is very important and the impact it can create. And I've not stopped there. I took this kind of learning to other customers of mine, and they appreciated it. They're using it. So definitely means volunteering in this particular academy for being an IT moderator, it helped me understand the importance of social learning, I would say.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. So it's great to see that, not only we have a huge shift in education, but also in the social, let's say, collaboration between the various parties, where so far parents would just send off their kids to school and they hoped that they would take care of their kids in the meantime, but also the social education of children, that it is not only teaching them whatever is in the book, but also interacting in a way in which they are socially engaged. So I'm certain that we will hear much more of this way of education and on how we do that. And thank you very much, Nikhil, for your insights, because everybody here is either a child, for sure, has been and involved in education, or a teacher or a parent. So we're looking forward to seeing how this education will shift and what it means to our social behavior and how we interact. Thank you so much. I would like to move to our, and we will send your presentation to our, you have prepared the presentation also, and we will send this to everybody who has registered for today. So you will get a nice digital goodie bag with a thank you note later on. So you can look forward to some extra reading material. Well, thank you very much, Nikhil.
Thanks, everyone.
I would like to move to our next speaker. Well, actually, he doesn't really need an introduction, but I will do it anyway. Vipin Moharir of Gateway Group. Vipin Moharir is co-founder of the Gateway Corporation. In his role as Group Chief Strategy Officer, he's responsible for strategy, execution, and results at the Gateway Corp. That includes multiple brands and presence in 16 countries. Vipin also heads Group's venture funding activities through Quantum Growth Venture and is responsible for global inorganic activities of the Gateway Corp. With a unique blend of Indian background combined with Dutch and international exposure, he has evolved into a serial entrepreneur at heart and soul. Vipin is an Inspire agent with over 25 years of managerial and consulting experience. Vipin has founded and co-founded several startups in IT and other sectors. Vipin is known for his hands-on approach for business acceleration and innovation and has built and managed internationally diverse teams and business units in multiple countries. He appears frequently in the media and regularly speaks at events. He's an excellent speaker, by the way. Vipin was involved in the Netherlands India Chamber of Commerce and Trade as an active board member and former chairman. And he believes fervently that there is no substitute for hard work. And I can see that he's doing that very successfully. Vipin, it's great to have you here. Please join me.
I think you can see me, Edith. Thank you so much for such a long introduction. Wow.
Great to have you here, Vipin. Really, always a pleasure. As I already pointed out at the beginning, it is really this afternoon is really to show how our patron members, and it's great to have you as patron member, have experienced 2020 and how they have used that to help others in various sectors. We have seen education already, we have seen IT, startup and tech, but today you will tell us something about other things. First of all, I would like to ask you, which findings of 2020 made you think differently about your business approach in the India-Netherlands corridor?
Thank you, Edith, for the opportunity to speak to other NICCT members and esteemed colleagues. Very quickly, three things. First, welcome to Ambassador Rawat. It was great to hear Marten from the Berg, and extremely sorry about Hans de Boer. Those are very quick words, a lot has been said, so I won't repeat the same. See, my findings are very interesting. I mean, other colleagues also mentioned IT industry has been slightly different to some of the other traditional industries in 2020 because there was a very rapid digital transformation, let's say in the last 9 or 10 odd months for the global community. But for me personally, 2020, I think gave a new definition to strategic partnership. The simple words, two words, strategic partnership got a completely different meaning in 2020. And two of my colleagues actually mentioned two of the words in their speeches. So it was very interesting. I would say 2020 strategic partnership definition was driven by risk, resilience, and transformation. And first, let me tackle risk. So finding of risk was that there was business continuity at stake for both in terms of business for ourselves, but also for our customers who are spread across the globe, but predominantly also in the Netherlands. And obviously, our services are driven from India. So being ready for such situations, disaster recovery and continuity plans, and I'm happy that, although India did not need it, but 2002, 2003, many of the Indian IT companies, they expected the SARS, let's say, to hit India. Unfortunately, and fortunately, I would say it did not, but our plans were clearly made at that point in time. So that readiness from 10 to 15 years back kind of helped the Indian IT companies from a risk management and business continuity perspective. That is first one finding that I can certainly share. Second is resilience. The rapid adjustments that one needed to do in service delivery, location independent services, whether it is training and digital education, or it is as simple as, do you get your car serviced during COVID, yes or no? I mean, those kind of things were really, they required certain new innovations, and simply being there, resilient to, changes which are happening around us, supporting the customers in their new business models, investing into relationships where we knew that the customers could not, let's say, bear that financial transformation cost. So coming up with new business models to cater to the uncertain market, that really defined the finding for us as resilience. And the third, which is absolutely, I think, the most important one, is utilizing the brain power and the designing skills in the Netherlands, and utilizing the delivery skills of, let's say, the India-based teams. India was far more open in the last 9 and 10 odd months, actually, than the Netherlands, or in fact, Western Europe, I would say. And Ambassador from the Berg actually, kind of confirmed the same thing. Even now, we are in Avondklok, but India is still very, very open, and business is happening almost as normal. So the third theme for finding was transformation. I mean, how do you cater to immediate and opportunistic demands, needs of the market? How do you innovate on the fly? How do you deliver and deploy technological solutions to traditional industries? Those are some of the, let's say, learnings and findings. And to give you one or two examples to make it tangible, when we saw this COVID situation hitting the automotive industry very rapidly in Western Europe, we kind of innovated, we transformed, and we launched a series of products which we called the zero touch products. So we launched them in automotive, we launched them in logistics, we launched them in the electrification actually of logistics offering. We launched them in automotive damage assessment, where people could not actually, be in those workshops and look at the cars for whatever reasons of quarantine and things like that. So three most important findings, and also I would say advice to the entrepreneurs from my perspective: strategic partnership, risk management, business continuity. Second is resilience. How do you create that, and how do you actually execute on those plans? And third is the journey for ourselves, but also our customers in terms of transformation during the COVID times.
Okay, that's a clear message. And we were talking about, now you showed us what this means for, from an IT perspective, well, also in certain industries. But, and that's also your recommendations. They are loud and clear, and certainly a good way to go forward. But how have your customers from more traditional industries innovated? And could you maybe share an example with us?
Yeah, it's interesting. So we do worldwide, we do quite a lot of work in what we call entertainment and the hotel industry, which is normally called HoReCa, which is restaurants, cafes, and so on and so forth. And this industry was hit very, very hard with this entire quarantine and, no outings, and especially in the Netherlands, but also in terms of Western Europe, there were areas, England, etc. So now what does one do within, let's say, this period where the revenues have suddenly dropped, from 100% to maybe 10, 15%? You can innovate, you can convert your hotels to, maybe COVID hotels or non-COVID hotels and those kind of things. So you very rapidly, you need to build upon, let's say, apps and portals to register people, because you could suddenly find, how do you do contact research between people? So those are in general IT tools. But one example that has really struck me in the form of innovation, which we do within, let's say, our customer ecosystem, which happen to be also NICCT members. And if I can just share my screen and explain, let's say, this example.
Yes, please do so.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of, explain by showing you an example of something pretty wonderful. And I hope that you're able to see my screen, which is showing you probably a hotel room. So is everyone able to see the screen?
1 second. Yes. And we can't see anything we shouldn't see. So
fantastic. I hope you're not able to see my Netflix screen. So that's good.
No.
So see what? So normally, this is a well-known hotel in Rotterdam airport. And normally what they would have done is, for their entire hotel transformation that they're busy with, which is the greenification, I would say, of the regards of the airport hotel Rotterdam, which belongs to one meeting, let's say, group. is they would have simply gone to the reserves and started investing. Now they have 20, 25 odd locations. So you can multiply 50, 70,000 with 20 locations. You need somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million euros. And during COVID times, it was very difficult, obviously, for them to sustain this. So when we are innovating and we come to, let's say, different ideas based on digitization and digital platforms, what you see here is that this is a platform which says, well, can you help us, by buying vouchers, for example, for greenification of the hotels? These are discounted vouchers. And what it actually will allow them to do is completely optimize their cash flow by a crowdfunding platform for achieving this entire roadmap for becoming green with respect to, hotel rooms, using environmentally friendly products, completely changing the meeting rooms, having a green kitchen, and so on and so forth. So we were rapidly able to, talk to them. Their ideas were converted into, let's say, crowdfunding ideas. And now every location, you see loyalty customers. So the entire loyalty program is now built into, let's say, this entire portal and platform. Social entrepreneurship is built up in this platform. So what's happening is that on one side, you know that you want to do this transformation. On the other side, you know that your plans for 2021 will not work out because 2020 was a disaster. You know that government funding is never going to achieve this transformation for you. But you also know, if you think outside the box, you have a set of loyal customers who are willing to buy these vouchers today for being in the hotel, let's say, in a couple of months. And that simply allows you, simple idea, fantastically executed, and it delivers, a couple of million for entire, let's say, a greenification of their entire hotel chain. So this is an interesting example, traditional industry, using a lot of IT tools, using a lot of crowdfunding, using a lot of platform technology, involving people, loyalty programs, extreme amount of customer intimacy, getting closer to your users, international, let's say, crowd, obviously, because it's close to the airport. So there are so many components which are brought together to deliver, let's say, the final result, that it is just fantastic to, kind of see this kind of an example within the COVID times. I find this to be extremely out of the box. And this is really something that, the others can very quickly learn from and then, kind of implement very quickly. So just an example, I just unshared my screen, but this shows you that outside the box thinking can work, that if you have resilience and innovative, let's say, ideas, and you are able to very quickly give it hands and feet, as they call in Dutch, then it can work. And there is a huge amount of, a huge community out there that can be mobilized, which normally people don't come and connect to. But COVID-19 and digitization allowed them to, kind of spread their wings and connect to them digitally and then do these kind of programs.
Yeah, that's amazing, Vipin. Thank you very much for sharing this with us, because what I very much like about this example that you gracefully shared with us is that it is in a traditional sector in which one would think it is extremely difficult to find a way out of this pandemic. Due to the lack of visitors, due to the lack of traveling. So if I understood it correctly, it allows this hotel not only to invest in their making their hotels greener, to work on all the sustainable development goals and making progress from that point of view, but also to be pre-financed by their own loyal customers, who will then be able to not only pre-finance, but also feel good about doing something good in both ways. So that's a great example. And,
absolutely.
And it is very inspiring for us all. And it gives everybody just, hopefully some new inspiration to rethink their traditional business model. Thank you very much, Vipin. And we will, of course, be in touch. And you will see more of Vipin later. Well, not today, but also within NICCT. Good to have you back in other capacity, but we will come to that at another event. Thank you very much, Vipin.
Thank you, Edith. Thank you.
I would like to move to our MOU signing and I already promised you that. Well, of course, we're not going to scribble on your screen. Don't worry. We have prepared the MOU, and I would like to introduce you to Professor Dr. Marianne Franzen, the new president of the India-Netherlands Business Circle, Bangalore. With more than 30 years of experience in change management in India as well as abroad, Marianne lives by the motto, if we don't change in time, time will change us. Well, that we know for sure. Currently, she's head of the International Consultancy and Corporate Affairs at Cambridge Institute of Technology in Bangalore, India. Besides that, as a consultant in the corporate world and a visiting professor of business change and society, her vision is to continually challenge, guide, and lead people towards embracing sustainable change in order to stay ahead of time. She believes that hidden talents must be uncovered. We're very much into what we've heard today. Young leaders coached and knowledge and experience shared extensively to allow for continuous advancement and future growth. Supporting people and watching them attain greater heights to make better good relations even better. Also, one of the topics of today, at both at a personal and professional front, gives her immense satisfaction. Marianne believes that people should be stimulated to recall their dreams and encouraged to pursue them passionately, as realizing one's dreams invariably leads people forward in the right direction. Staying ahead of time requires a questioning spirit and breaking through norms and regulations which have lost relevance. That we really know that we need that now. Cultural and behavioral patterns must be revived, innovation encouraged, an atmosphere of healthy competition built. These are some of the rules by which the game of business is played today. In fact, not only business, but governments and countries must adopt this strategy as well. Marianne passionately guides organizations on how to break through redundant norms, stimulating them to create new paradigms, implementing new rules into their business. She focuses on two aspects during a change process: business and people. As per her, these are the two facets of the same coin and hence equally important. Marianne has successfully enabled companies to transition through tough changes that positively impact ROI, lead time, cultural differences, mergers, leadership development, etc. Furthermore, she worked for the Dutch Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Education, Culture and Science, Ministry of Health, Welfare and Sport, and Transport, Public Works and Water Management. The realization of implementation in collaboration with political leaders and professionals was the main topic. Marianne also played the role of board member in various industrial organizations and chairperson for the Dutch People's Party for Freedom and Democracy on regional level. Marianne continues to lead organizations across sectors ranging from retail, healthcare, oil and gas, finance, IT, manufacturing, education to steel. Between May and October 2016, she had the role of interim president at the India-Netherlands Business Association in New Delhi. We know it as INBA. In the year 2017 to 18, she was vice president of the Women International Club in Delhi. And in 2017, she was the business editor of the HR magazine People and Management. Currently, she is the president of the Indian-Netherlands Business Circle in Bangalore, focusing on building bridges between India and the Netherlands. And that is exactly how we are signing a MOU between NICCT and IMBC Bangalore today. On behalf of NICCT, I am truly honored and grateful to having signed this MOU with Professor Dr. Marianne Franzen, so we can support you with brains, boots, and helping hands on the ground in Bangalore and the other way around. Marianne, congratulations on our wonderful MOU. Where are you?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Wonderful. We can also see you. Please, the floor is yours, and yes, congratulations to us both.
Yes, exactly. First of all, thank you very much for having me. It's a real honor to be part of this forum. I would like to congratulate, of course, His Excellency Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rawat. I know his room very well because the last 13 years I'm walking around here in India And once or twice, sometimes 3 times a year, I visit Netherlands, and The Hague is not only a beautiful city, but having a small visit, maybe with chai or Dutch coffee on the Indian embassy is fantastic. So congratulations. Hopefully I see you maybe this year. That's the plan. Then secondly, is actually, of course, Mr. Marten van den Berg. Marten, wij gaan elkaar heel snel zien. Also, thank you very much for being here. Those 2 very diplomats and professionals are very important to not but to strengthen the relationships between India and the Netherlands. What I would like to share with you, not 13 years of experience in India, but a little bit what I'm doing at the moment. Secondly, why an Indian-Netherlands business club is important. And we, as a little sister or brother in Bangalore, would love to indeed sign an MOU with a little bigger sister in NICCT. We both have, I think, the same vision. We are, in different places. You are there and we are here. And to run not only around the countries, but especially fast through the different bridges between the countries, I think that's very important. So I come back to that. And of course, I would like to introduce the INBC team, the India-Netherlands Business Circle team. I'll do that later. What I'm doing at the moment is being part of the Cambridge Institute of Technology, and that's wonderful. Mr. Nikhil already told us a little bit about what's happening at the moment in education. And it's disruptive, talking about transformation. But there are opportunities. Opportunities because all the education systems that don't have any more choice. Shall we jump into digital environment? Do we have to do something with technology or not? It's a university of approximately 5,000 students from kindergarten to PhD. And that's interesting. Some of the students told me, well, we started, when we were very young, then halfway high school, and then now we are finalizing our PhD. So it's a kind of lifetime employment, not lifetime employment, lifetime commitment. Last year I started with this institute and we developed the Vision 2025. We didn't know anything about Corona, nothing about COVID, etc. But the Vision 2025 and the implementation, that's at the moment my responsibility. It's not only a focus on research and teaching and learning, but it's also how to incorporate the corporation world. How to incorporate more also the governmental world, maybe the diplomatic world. Because when you have in mind the triple helix model, of course we are familiar with the triple helix model, then you have to focus on different stakeholders. They have different behaviors, different mindset, and of course different business models and also different interests. How to get the corporate world into an academic area. We all know there's a huge gap, not only in the West, especially in India. That means when you can co-create and co-develop programs with students, with faculties, it's for them a new world, but also it's a new paradigm. And what is the interest for, of course, of the institute is how to reduce the bridge between graduation and acquiring a job. For everybody is that very important, not only for students, but also for the corporate world. Another thing is internationalization. Well, every organization, but especially an academic area, would like to have international partners. But when you are in India and you travel around and maybe for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the West or maybe in the Far East, is that internationalization? Well, I don't think so. You can talk maybe about Amsterdam, you can talk about Hong Kong, you can talk about New York, fantastic. But internationalization is more. It's understanding each other. That means not only the other language, but also what is inside the human being. What is the culture? What is the mindset? What kind of behavior they have? Do you have the competence to empathize? That's a little bit the main condition in internationalization. So as an institute, we are looking, of course, always with our team to international partners. not only in the corporate level, but especially also in the international academic level. I think the beginning of December, flying around airports, families indeed, I had a very interesting trip to the Netherlands, and of course an interesting talk with Edith. At the moment we are partnering, trying to set up collaboration with the Free University, with Section University, the Hague University, and Amsterdam University of Applied Science. Interesting is that we have the same vision. Key is sustainability. In India, maybe we talk more about sustainability than implementation. However, in the West, especially in Netherlands, is number one in the classroom, not talking about sustainability, but you start in your own kitchen and you do it everywhere, not only in the classroom, but also, of course, in your environment and in your own country. Last thing, what I'm doing at the moment, of course, with the team and a lot of 180 faculties, is commercialization. Commercialization of the deliverables we have. Everything is online, so sometimes it's very easy to invite not only other students, but also invite corporates who would like to increase their knowledge or the experience, for example, in AY, in the healthcare sector, whatever the technology is, because we have an engineering background. Research and development. Is that only for the library? I don't think so. Is it only for the faculty? Is it only for the academic world that we can call New York or maybe Singapore? Look, we have a patent, fantastic. No, 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 no. I think how to add value to society with the research you have done, with the knowledge you have. Well, this is, more than a full-time job, and I'm very happy with it. From the point of view, what is happening in my experience, not only the last year, because I think previous speakers have said a lot of that, but what I think is happening, should happen, or could happen in the 2021, 3 domains. The technology engineering. Is technology engineering only about tech? No. Here it comes to Bangalore. When I send an email abroad, always I start greetings from Bangalore. And interesting is that digital and digitization is Bangalore. It's the biggest hub together with London, which grew the last 2 years. I think 4 years for Bangalore. And it doubled the business, and especially it increased the investments. And that's interesting, being in Bangalore and joining and attending those kind of not only happenings or meetings, but it is real. You can see it in the ROI of every company. 5.4 times investment has grown from $1.3 billion to $7.2 billion, only in 4 years. Compared to Mumbai, it's only 1.7 times. Is there a competition between Mumbai and Bangalore? I think so. If there are a lot of people now listening from Mumbai, I don't know. I'm in Bangalore at the moment.
Of course.
And interesting is those game-changing technology. Bangalore is very good. I think South India is very good in that. Focused on femtech and edtech. What is edtech? Edtech is educational. That means we had a huge exercise, a lot of pilots, and increase our professionality, how to increase the quality of the digital classroom. And as Mr. Nikhil rightly said, it's not only about the classroom or the technology, it's about the students. Every day, go to your laptop, you put Zoom on, and you see the same faces. Maybe you have a glass of water, maybe a glass of chai. Your parents indeed know more about the students, and happy they know more about the faculties, the professors. But is that all? After 9 months, I think it's enough. We never know what's happening in 2021. However, my concern is, can we have all the students in a healthy, fantastic, open, bright mindset back? Now, there's a difference between the West, that means the Netherlands, and India. India is opening up. Students are coming back with strict rules. We have tested all the students and the faculties. And when they come, then we only see the eyes. That means communication between eyes is priority number 1. Of course, they have to learn it. But what that's very interesting from of the Indian students, they can laugh via the eyes. The only thing is, you have to be able to receive the laughing eyes. So I learned, especially the last 9 months, to laugh back with my eyes. Sometimes I'm fed up with that, put my mask off, hi, how are you? And I put it on.
Well, I really like it, but sorry to interrupt you, because we also promised to our people that they could go into breakout rooms, and at 6 we really have to wrap up, and we want to do, let's say, a quarter of an hour of breakout rooms. So I'll give you 3 more minutes to get into our corporation, if that is okay, because of course we will do much more in the future.
Yes.
3 more minutes, if that's okay for you.
Yeah, that's okay. The INBC is a fantastic business club. We started approximately 10 years back. At the moment, we are focusing on 8 different spearheads. That means what is important regarding the focus points from an economical point of view of the Netherlands, and in India, focused on Bangalore. So we have 8 like healthcare, agriculture, water, waste management, energy, etc., etc. And we invite members to be part and lead those domain areas. So it's an ecosystem. Of course, again, is sustainability key. We focus not only on sustainability, but also investment. Education and training is a very important one. Who are the team members? Because when you are the president and you have the idea or the ambition to do it alone, no, short-term thinking. We have on board Monica Ganya, 15 years of experience, living here in Bangalore, of course. He's a corporate lawyer and project coordinator with India Connect. She's a freelancer. Then we have Vijay Kumar. Vijay, I always call him, I'm so happy that we have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on board. He has a huge network. Connect people, that's his passion. Then we have Kartik Balachandran. He's 18 years of corporate banker. I think he knows everything what's happening in the financial system. That means digitization, of course. But interesting is he's focusing on startups. He knows what it is from an idea, passion, go to the market, get some funds, or you create your own funds. And that's very interesting because NICCT is focusing on startups. We are focusing on startups. That means as a Netherlands business, or you have an idea, you come here, you have to call Kartik. Then Irfan Vazirali, he's a very experienced board member, 30 years of an entrepreneur in the pharmaceutical sector. And he is guiding us from the old to the new. And why is that? He was in the previous board. Always important to respect your history. Last but not the least, Heine Lagevee, perfect Deputy Councillor General. He studied in Groningen. Can you imagine? You study in Groningen and now you're in Bangalore. Talking about intercultural sensitivity. Heine, welcome. You are not 100% busy with the responsibility, but it is fantastic because not only NICCT, but also we would like to have close ties with the diplomatic world. Now, I told you, this is my last one, I told you we have 8 spearheads. That means 5 points, very interesting for the MOU between NICCT and the INBC in Bangalore. One, of course, is education and training. Not only my passion, it's very much needed. Not only this year, coming decades. Who is running that show? That is Thomas van Berkel, a very, very experienced manager in intercultural change and transformation, coaching, and of course, counseling, etc. And he said, Marianne, I have an idea. When I run the show, we have within a month, between 8 and 12, a trade mission. Is it not interesting that we get to know each other better, like NICCT members, INBC members? I'm willing to organize a workshop, maybe for 2 or 3 hours, focused on what is the perfect match between India and the Netherlands. I said, Thomas, you can't do that within 2 or 3 hours. Probably you need a day. He said, no problem. 6th of February, we start 2 hours and then let's see.
Look,
Thomas, most welcome. So that's I'd like to invite, of course, all the members of NICCT, but the most important and very happy thing is we start collaborating. Edith, thank you very much. All the members of NICCT, most welcome, not only digital, but when you are in Bangalore, just call.
Wonderful, we'll do that. We're looking forward to a great collaboration. Thank you so much. Congratulations. We'll drink that together sometime soon, hopefully, and hope to see you soon in Bangalore.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marianne. Congratulations. Looking forward to that. We promised you networking and we have run a bit late. My apologies for that, but we will go now into breakout rooms. First of all, if I don't see some of you, thank you all very much. We'll go in breakout rooms. The ones that are still there after that, I'll see back then. The breakout rooms are pre-divided, so it's like, you know, a kinderijsverprise. You don't know what you get inside, but this is just how we're going to do it. And looking forward to seeing you all back at the end, but and also to many other events. Thank you all. We will put you now into breakout rooms, at least if it works. And the board members will be there as well, so you don't know who you get. We're still here, right?
Hey Rajiv, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, how are you?
We seem to be in some breakout room, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, it's a mystery room. You know, these days people have these games, but of course with COVID time it's not happening. The escape rooms, you know.
Yeah,
It's become a big jazz thing, you know. Escape rooms is very hot.
Yeah,
So
digital escape rooms. Yeah.
Try to get out of the escape room. So yeah, you're in with me in this escape room, my friend. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, just three of us. I see Vivek, I see Mrinalini there as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can see me. Good.
Yeah, we can see you. And I think a couple of other members are just coming in. So
yeah, I can't see anybody online, so I don't know. Maybe the cameras are off or.
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good.
But dark now.
So Namita, the Q&A starts with you. So you can see the questions. Maybe you should just start with you.
You see the questions?
Yeah, the questions.
Welcome everybody to the reception. No food, no drinks, but good humor.
Funny, actually.
So in Australia, you have this habit of bring your own, right?
Yep.
It's the same over here.
Well, we did something pretty interesting. Last week, we had a small reception with our customers and we shipped small cute boxes with a small bottle of champagne, one glass to all our customers. And then we asked them to open it. And it was packed in dry ice, so it was cold. Right. And everybody opened it at that time, and then we had a glass. So it was fantastic. 70, 80 odd people. Good experience, you know. I wanted to share this example as well. This is an event management company. And all they did before March 2020 was physical events. Never, ever had they done digital events. Right. But from March, you know, they came up with fantastic new ideas and they said, well, you know, leave the logistics to us. We will make the packages. We will make sure that your customers get it. So just outsource the whole event to us. We will be the moderators. We will do everything. And it was fantastic. I think, you know, it was a great innovation for this event management company.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any champagne for you all, but the cup of Darjeeling tea is there. Cheers for the new year.
Cheers.
Yep. Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Well, I have my coffee. But it was very nice seeing all of you. Happy New Year. And well, it's the beginning of the year, so we can all think about how it would be good. Maybe we can have a separate meeting later with NICCT to see how we can work together this year.
Yes, please.
So, hi, Marianne. I don't think I met you formally. I'm with the Embassy of India here in The Hague. I look after the economic and commercial
Perfect.
section.
Okay, great. Yeah, next time when we are there, then we meet.
Let me shoot a quick question to Marten from the Berg. We just read today, Marten, that KLM is obviously retrenching and they have stopped all flights, on long-haul flights after the government's announcement yesterday. Does it mean that KLM will stop flying to India as well?
Well, we still don't know. I'm in very close contact with the KLM. It's a bit too early to tell. That's definitely a possibility. But the KLM at the moment is negotiating with the Dutch government whether it can make an exemption for crew members of the KLM. But if that's not the case, then and the crew members have to be tested before they return, then the KLM might stop their intercontinental flights because they're not also the unions, but they don't want to take the risk that a crew member is not allowed to return to the Netherlands. So if that's the case, then very high probability that they will stop intercontinental flights. But it's still too early to tell because they're still negotiating at the moment. We probably will get an answer tomorrow morning.
That's good to know. And may I also take the opportunity of actually asking one more question, because I think you must be probably knowing the answer to that is, Netherlands has approved the Pfizer, and they're on the verge of approving Moderna. Is India expected to, let's say, also export the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine to the Netherlands?
If it's, of course, it has to be approved. AstraZeneca is still not approved by the European Medicine Agency, but we expect that it will be approved in the coming weeks. And then, of course, there is definitely a big possibility that also India, because they have, if you can see, India is having first a neighborhood policy. So they supply vaccines to Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan. They also have, they're also looking to exports to African countries, but definitely they're also looking, of course, especially in the longer run, that they will also start exporting to European countries once it is approved by the EMA.
But sir, the Dutch have also already ordered a large consignment of this vaccine. So is that not going to come from Pune?
From Pune, from Serum Institute in Pune, yeah. I'm not sure.
We have 10-12 million doses have been already procured or ordered by the Dutch government.
Yeah, but I'm not sure when they start delivering. That I don't know.
Right.
Marten, I have a question for you. How do you see the enrollment of all the vaccination in India? They have the ambition of 6 months. Well, it's 1.3 billion citizens. It's quite ambitious. But what is your vision about that?
Yeah, well, the first target is 300 million people. And also because, well, actually a lot of people already had COVID. So there is, I think that's why maybe it's going quite, at least in Delhi, but also in certain other parts of India, going quite well with the cases. There's a kind of a herd immunity, it seems. But they think if they have vaccinated between 300 and 400 million people, that might be sufficient. But that's, of course, depends also very much whether how the virus will behave and how long the duration is from the protection of a vaccine. Yeah, I think what you see now is, I think for India also a bit disappointing because a lot of people are not showing up. So there's still some hesitance among Indian people whether to take the vaccine or not. I think they expected a bit as well because, well, there are some discussions. Should you take it? Is it dangerous for all the people with allergies, etc., etc. So what they expect that the moment it will take some time that more and more people will show up. But I think there is a certain delay. But they did huge preparations, I think, and they have good experience with vaccination programs in India. So I think, maybe it will take some time, but in the medium term, I think they will very much be able to vaccinate around somewhere between around 300 or even a bit more 100 million people, which is of course a lot, a huge challenge. But they do have very good experiences with it. So I'm quite positive about not in the short term, but in the medium term. I'm quite positive.
I have a question to you all, because in the informal network, why is India so doing good and it's opening up? And from my perspective, students come back. Street is full of small business, let me put it that way. The theory behind this, that the resistance, the immunity system of the average India is far more better compared to the West. Now, I'm working 100%. That means meeting a lot of people, 1.5 meter of etc. And I had dengue, chikungunya, and typhoid. So my immune system is a little bit different compared to the average Dutch.
Are you still alive?
Well, I won't share the details because you don't want to know that. But is it because we do different things? The air is a different quality. What do you think about that theory? By the way, I don't have COVID.
The theory is a bit different. If I can explain a bit about this, Marianne. The theory is not so. It's about, because what happens if you get COVID and what makes it worse, that your immunity system is reacting too strong. It's an overreaction of the immunity system. That is what happens. So actually, if it's really getting dangerous, it's not so much about the COVID virus, but the way your immunity system is responding on the virus. And what they have noticed that in India, but also in other countries with people who have experienced many more viruses than we have in Europe or United States, that the immunity system reacts differently. So that's why so many people have relatively mild symptoms. There's a low mortality rate. You see that in also example in Kenya, you see exactly the same thing. So and that's a bit what is happening.
Okay. But also with Dutch people in India. So we adapt 100%.
Well, I'm not sure whether that's the case, but I think it should be logical. That is, if you have all the viruses, you had them, you survived them, maybe your immunity system will respond also differently to the COVID virus. That I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Marianne is clearly happy with the fact that her immunity is better.
Yeah, well, at least the immune system responds in a more sensible way, and that is, I think.
But I do believe in some of the things that you're saying, Marianne, because I was looking at some of the reports in Dharavi in Mumbai. Now, anybody who has been to Mumbai, Dharavi, the entire leather market, knows that people are literally crawling, in that market. And forget 1 meter, there's probably 10 centimeters is the norm out there. But if you see the way the whole thing was controlled, and if you see the numbers, either the numbers are incorrect and we're not getting the right numbers, that could be, or the numbers are correct and there is some form of herd immunity, which probably is a result of a lot of factors, climate, environment, the amount of bacteria and so on and so forth. So the Indians in the Netherlands are hoping that we have the same form of immunity here if we were to get COVID.
Yes, and then I can understand you.
So, Vipin, if I may add something over there, of course, like all of us have been talking back home and checking how people are doing. Ambassador van der Berg, there hasn't been one person in my network of family who's had COVID in India, and not even in the wider friend circle as well. So that comes as a big surprise to me. Whereas in Netherlands and in Europe, I've had friends who had COVID. So it's really quite a strange phenomenon.
Yeah, I have some friends here in India, Indian, who actually also died because of COVID. And we do have some colleagues at the embassy, Indian colleagues, who also had COVID. So in my network, I know several people who had it, and unfortunately 2 of my friends died of COVID.
Oh, that's really sad. Sorry to hear about that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is actually, it is indeed within the society, but I fully agree with you. I mean, the scale of people who get a bad COVID, so to say, that's totally different from Europe or United States.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, Your Excellency, thanks a lot for this information, and I also would like to share with you I also have a friend who actually told me that even if you take the vaccine, it makes you immune, but you still remain a carrier of the virus. So have you heard similar stories?
Yeah, that's correct. You can have even with the the vaccine, you can be carrier of the virus, so you don't get ill yourself, but you can contaminate someone else. It seems that's what I also got back from our medical team.
So if that is the case, it is actually a big threat to global trade and engagements, because it seems that this problem may survive for quite some time this year.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that if
Correct.
I think there is always, the glass is half empty or glass is half full. I think we need to look at the opportunities than the threats to global trade and things like that. My way of thinking is that we all travel to Africa, and you need that yellow fever passport, and you need all kind of things which are there. So even when you board a KLM plane, they're trained to ask you, well, have you been inoculated and do you have the vaccinations? You said yes, and you have a QR code that shows you that you are vaccinated, and it checks you and you go there. I mean, it's as simple as that, or it is as difficult as that you ask the people that you're meeting, hey, listen, I have the vaccine. Have you got the vaccine? Yes or no? If not, stay at 2 meters, or, don't meet me. Let's meet digitally. I mean, those are the options that we have to live with. I think, otherwise we'll be just talking about, let's say, glass being half empty. But I would rather look at the possibilities that the vaccine provides, adapt lifestyle, and then move on with it.
Well, it does not provide that flexibility, Vipinji. The spread is not contained. And in India, we have another issue that the vaccines that are used, some of them are not even through the third phase trials.
That's correct. The Bharat, vaccine is not through the phase
trial. So no wonder that people are not very keen to take it.
Yeah.
Because they are not stupid.
Yeah. No, that's not my point, actually. My point is something different. I think without making it into a debate, my point is that there are two options that mankind has. Either stay at home till the whole world's of 7 billion is inoculated and then go out, or define a risk model which is acceptable and then move on with the risk model. And those are the two options. And for me, the last option is glass is half full. Define the perimeters and the parameters, both the contours, and then move on with it. And of course, element of risk remains. That remains even when you cross roads in India.
Also in
Absolutely.
You could drive yourself in India. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically agree with Vipin's view. However, I feel that when you are working in the IT industry, it is a different perspective as compared to if you are in the hotel industry or if you are in the restaurant industry. Then people may have a different perspective.
That's
true. I think it's always
well, if I may say something on let's say travel and meeting people, I think in general it maybe has given a boost to people getting used to meeting digitally. So you don't have to travel from Europe to India in order to get hopefully. So you can also reduce time and make use of quality time during meetings, provided you have a good access, of course, to the contact person you want to speak to. So I think networking will be more important than ever, and connecting through digital means, I think, has maybe people are getting more used to it. So indeed, you can also try and build on relationships through mutual contacts. Get your meeting online, and in doing so, saving a lot of time. Sadly enough, of course, for all the restaurants and the hotels, that you won't be able to spend your money there. So I don't have a solution for that, but I think indeed having these video meetings increasingly is a good opportunity to stay connected and get connected.
I totally agree.
I'll give a very interesting anecdote on this, if you allow me. So the whole concept of embassies and consulates, came up primarily because it was an issue of trust management worldwide. And this is a little bit of family history if we have 1 minute. So my surname Moharir comes from 2 words. Mohar means the stamp, and the person who was the owner and the bearer of the stamp became a Moharir. So that's not my actual formal surname, but it's a title which was given to some of my forefathers. And they were the holder of this seal, which was basically a consulate in the Indian princely states. So how does one prince know that the letter has been issued by the other, let's say, prince? Because they used to have the formal seal, and the consulate in the other princely state would used to say that, hey, listen, this is an authentic letter. So the first, let's say, consulates in India were established in that form, which was the Chanakya's principle, who's a great writer, and the father is supposed to be of business norms. The reason I'm giving this example is in earlier days, trade happened because you trusted your local agent to do the quality control, to select the goods for you, and the meetings were still happening in their digital form at that time, which was maybe a telegram and a letter. And we are just going back to, a couple of steps. Today, one can stay, at home and say, well, I don't want to trade with China. Or you can say, I have 5 agents. I require this product and goods. I'll trust my agent. I'll establish a form of trust and then let him export it. I'll be protected by the quality norms, and I'll work in that fashion with my video conferences, with my tools to inspect my goods, to do my quality inspection. So it's just a little bit of outside the box thinking and re-establishing the trust network globally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And then, of course, we as human beings, we need, apart from that, we need social contact because we are social beings, and that's an entirely different thing. And from their perspective, of course, we do hope that physical meetings also amongst us here, not going anywhere, is possible again. There is nothing like, a nice lunch or dinner or drinking a glass of wine or anything else together. And that we need as well. So therefore, we need to get the vaccine in a way in which we can safely meet each other and have, maybe the handshake is not coming back in the way it was, but, people like to touch others because we are human beings. So we need to find a mix in which we will have our trusted partners abroad, which is amazing, of course, in everything we have, our business partners, our embassies, our consulates, our MOU partners, of which we know that we feel safe and trusted and everything. And on the other hand, we, of course, hope that we will also be able to meet physically again, because that's why we're humans. It says that if you have a baby, they had some well, I don't know who performed this test, but if you don't touch a baby from the beginning, it will not grow as a normal human being because it lacks the human touch, really. So we have all had that. We had the breeding and everything, so we know how it is. We just have to continue a bit like this, cherish what we have, and go for the mix, for the blend of trusting our partners abroad and having physical meetings as well. So that's good.
And to add to that, Judith, I'm glad you mentioned that as well. In the past 2 hours, we've absolutely been hearing about businesses, but also about the social element and also about the human voice touch as well. One word that I haven't yet heard, and I really want to put that forward to all of you, is the word jugaad. We Indians think jugaad. We have Dutch families over here and Dutch business partners also thinking as jugaad now. So hats off to all of you for including that in your ways of doing businesses and transformation as well.
Yeah, very nicely put. Thank you very much, Navita. Well, I want to thank you and apologize at the same time for being so late. And thank you all for staying so long. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, the Indian side is different.
Yeah.
It's almost
Especially
breakfast
the
time.
Indian
It's
side,
almost
right.
breakfast time.
Breakfast time.
Thank you very
That's
much
nice,
for the
Marianne,
nice
and we'll
program.
do it in a time which doesn't which doesn't suit us, to show you that we are really committed. Well, thank you everybody from India, from the Netherlands, from wherever, for kicking off 2021 as a year of change, as a year of positive outlook, as a year of cooperation, and working together in the Dutch-India corridor. And we will all stay in touch very closely with each other and continue working together and on Dutch, Indo, and the other way around business. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Good night in India, in Delhi, in Bangalore, and wherever you are. And have a lovely evening here in the Netherlands. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and see you all soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Time to go to bed here.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
Edith.
Bye-bye.
Basic.
Pim, lukt het om eruit te komen? Ik hoor je niet, je bent gemute. Ik hoor je niet, Pim, je bent gemute. Je moet jezelf unmuten. Lukt het niet? Yes, het is gelukt.
Ja, het is gelukt.
Kartik,
Yeah, I think
Kartik, you're going to close the session.
no problem. I will have a call with Pim later. Yeah, I think he's trying to reach me.
Contact details with Pim?
I don't have. That's what he's trying to.
Please send me a message to
One
Patricia.
second. I think he has just sent me a message. I'm just copying it. Yeah. Control C. Control V. Yep. Got it. I'll connect with him.
His contact details?
Got his Indian contact details. Indian MD's contact details.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Bye.